Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about 1939's Gone with the Wind, starring Vivien Leigh as Scarlett and Clark Gable as Rhett Butler. In Gone with the Wind, a manipulative woman and a roguish man conduct a turbulent romance during the American Civil War and Reconstruction periods. So we have Gone with the Wind. So guys, today's movie was requested by no one. This is just another one that's on the poster, so I'm gonna review it. So, what did I think of Gone with the Wind? Well guys, I gotta be honest, that going into this movie, I thought that it was going to be an absolute slog to get through. Because all I knew about it going into it was the final line, or which I actually found out when watching the movie, it wasn't actually the final line, but pretty much the famous line from the movie, the "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn" line. I knew that it was set during the American Civil War, and also the fact this movie is nearly 4 hours long. And I thought that I was going to absolutely suffer sitting through this 4-hour long movie. But in actual fact, I found that I actually really enjoyed this film. Honestly, I'm shocked how much I actually really like this film. It is very easy to see why Gone with the Wind has become an all-time cinematic classic. And over 90 years on, people are still watching and still talking about this film. Just everything about this film is just amazing. The performances from Clark Gable and Vivien Leigh are nothing short of incredible. And also, Hattie McDaniel, who became the first African-American person to be nominated for and win an Academy Award. And it was a very well-deserved Oscar because she as well was also very good in this film. Honestly, I'm shocked though that Clark Gable didn't get an Oscar for this film because he was easily my favourite part about the whole movie. Every time this guy was on screen, for me, that's when the movie was at its best. Every single word that comes out of this guy's mouth is just nothing short of hilarious at times, thought-provoking, emotional, and just really engaging as well. The fact that this guy doesn't really think like anyone else, he doesn't really talk like anyone else, he just really sees the world for what it is, and that for me makes him such a great character. But as well, another thing I liked about this character is that he was the only one to see through Scarlett. Everyone else in the movie either was manipulated by her or just put up with her. And at times as well, you just really just start to loathe this character, even though she does go through some hardships herself. There's hardly a moment within the movie where I just wasn't actively rooting against her, because she was just such an unlikable person. Not to take anything away from the performance itself was really good. And without Vivien Leigh, the movie wouldn't be what it was. But building upon that, my favourite parts of this whole movie was when you see these two characters together. They have such great chemistry, they play really well off each other, and you can just see how each of them changes one another. But one of the things that I'm kind of a bit shocked about this movie is and I actually don't really talk about it that much on my channel, but the cancel culture around this film. Because recently I heard this movie had a bit of a cancel culture around it, how it received a bit of a trigger warning. And to be honest, when that happens, it kind of makes me want to watch the movie even more. So as well, not knowing anything about this film, I thought that the problematic parts of this film was going to be Clark Gable's treatment of Vivien Leigh's character. I thought that it was just going to be a case of that he was going to be beating her constantly and it was just going to be normalized and it was just not going to be a thing. He would hit her and it would just be like, it's just what it is. But it wasn't anything like that. There were certainly points where he was a bit intimidating towards her and it did seem like he was going to hit her, but nothing like that happens. Sure, some of the language and terminologies are a bit dated, but realistically, this is a movie set during the American Civil War. So realistically, this movie can be forgiven for using some less than desirable terminologies for things. Honestly, I've seen other movies deal with this subject matter in a much more graphic and an intense way. This movie, by say 12 Years a Slave standard, is pretty tame. But as well, other than the performances, just everything else in this movie was just on point. The writing, the direction, the cinematography, the score, everything about this movie is just amazing and just so on point. Just the amount of brilliant sets, landscapes, extras that were used in this movie, making this whole film feel larger than it is, larger than life, a grand epic tale. And as well, despite this movie nearly being 4 hours long, I just don't think there's a single scene I'd remove. Everything is just so brilliantly placed and it just builds up this epic story. There was actually one point in the movie where I thought everything was moving a little bit too fast. The movie had spent so much time building up everything so slowly and just making use of the pace and the timing. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of rushes through what seems like maybe 3 or 4 years. I don't know, it didn't ruin the movie. I just thought that it was a bit odd that they spent so much time building things up and then all of a sudden they're kind of rushing a bit to the finish. But like I said at the start of the review, I knew the famous line from this movie, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." And what I love so much about this line, it's that it's just the punctuation mark on this epic story. The fact that these characters have been somewhat trying to get along, and Clark Gable's character has had to put up with so much, and then eventually he just kind of just doesn't have the energy for it anymore, and he doesn't get angry, he doesn't lash out at her, he just kind of calmly accepts that the two of them just aren't really just meant for each other, and that they've been through so much and it hasn't really brought them close together. And it's just sad that in this moment she realizes that she actually is in love with him, or in my opinion, it's the fact that she realizes that she can't have the man she actually loves and is just kind of settling on Clark Gable's character. And the fact that she's begging and pleading with this guy, just don't leave. And he's just like, no, sorry, I'm gonna leave. And then she's just there, just like, what will I do? And he just says to her, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's just the way that he says this line and then just walks out, which just makes the movie for me. It's the fact that we've been through this nearly 4-hour-long story, and it's just the perfect way to end it. Just with a seemingly nonchalant throwaway line. The fact that we've had this epic story, and this is what it comes down to for him. Fantastic. Brilliant way to end a film. Overall, guys, Gone with the Wind was not what I was expecting. I thought that I was going to really suffer through this movie, and that it would have been very hard for me to say anything nice about it. But in actual fact, it is very easy to see why this movie is a great cinematic classic. From the characters, the writing, the direction, score, cinematography, everything about this film is just stupendous. But do I think you guys should watch this one? I would personally say yes and no. I would say yes because it is a great cinematic classic and I personally really liked it. But I would also kind of say no because I can understand that this movie may be a bit hard to sit through for some people. It is over 90 years old and it is a very long film. So I will say that unless you're willing to commit to a nearly 4-hour-long experience, I would say steer clear of this one. Because unless you're willing to give this movie your time, then I would say don't bother watching it. However, from a purely quality standpoint, and my opinion, I would say to watch this film. In summary, the only 2 words I can really use to describe Gone with the Wind is absolute classic. Okay guys, that's my review of Gone with the Wind. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think I should watch next? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!